You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And welcome to our show. It is Monday, November 16th, 2020, start of a brand new week of utter chaos and insanity in our political spectrum here. We have a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of news to get through before we open up the phone lines. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials and keeping us out of trouble. So let's get right on into it. Obviously, the good news from last night, SpaceX launched 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. This was the first full-fledged taxi flight for NASA by a private company, so a little bit of history being made there. It was a nighttime launch, so it was very, very spectacular. And one of the coolest things about it is apparently one of the astronauts took along a plush toy of Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. And while they were doing what they were doing in the cabins, the little Baby Yoda was just sort of floating around. I thought that was rather cool. And so I guess there's a 5th member of the crew now, if you count the plush toy here. Over the weekend, we did have those massive rallies in several cities across the United States of America in support of Donald Trump, actually really in support of honest and fair elections. There were attacks by Antifa and Black Lives Matter on some of the peaceful Trump marchers here. They wanted to call it the Million MAGA March, but the actual head count was a little over 200,000, which is still, that's a big crowd, and it should be big enough to send a message that the sleeping giant has awakened. So hundreds of thousands of freedom-loving Americans gathered in Washington, D.C. To show their support, but you wouldn't know it by watching the mainstream media, and that's absolutely true. It got zero coverage. The only thing that got coverage was where Black Lives Matter and Antifa were attacking some of the demonstrators, but no mention about the reason for the march, certainly no mention about how many people were showing up in all of these states here. So the corporate media is still out there putting out this mantra, the most secure election in U.S. history, and they continue to do that despite mounting evidence of brazen fraud all across the country. And basically, they're keeping that up. Now, the media is reduced to outright lying and fraud, trying to convince everybody that this is going the way they want, which is toward a Biden presidency. Now, last Friday or Saturday, either one, Trump made a comment that Biden won the election because the election was rigged, which seems to be true. The corporate media snipped off the back half of that and just quoted Biden won the election and then started pushing the story that Trump was about ready to concede, which is complete and utter nonsense. The White House has already said, no, that's not what was said. And another news report that came on out was that the Trump campaign had pulled back on a big part of its Pennsylvania lawsuit regarding 600,000 invalidated votes. The White House has now announced that is also fake news, and that that demand is still part of their lawsuit in Pennsylvania. So the media is just, they're desperate. It's desperation on the cusp of madness. They're really, out there, credibility on the line, and they're losing right now. I mean, they may get Biden into the White House, but nobody is ever going to believe anything the government or the authorities or the officials or the corporate media ever says ever again, which is why Biden is going to declare war on the independent media. Is basically, they're losing the war for the minds of Americans. Now, every year there is a get-together of hackers both the black hat and the white hat. NSA does a lot of recruiting there. And one of the things that they do as a public service is they will invite voting machine providers to submit samples of their machines to see how easy they can be hacked. And apparently Dominion and other providers for this year's election refused to submit their machines to the hackathon. But that didn't stop these hackers. Apparently, some of these Dominion machines were being sold on eBay complete with the latest software. And the hackers were able to buy the machines and, not too surprisingly, were able to gain entry to them quite easily. But again, if you go back to the official Dominion manual, there's one section there where the options exist in the software, right there in the polling place, to change the outcome of the election by assigning weights and variables and outright deletion of and they ought to change their motto: Dominion Election Systems, we guarantee the results. All righty. Another story coming out of NBC, no less. NBC is starting to cover this stuff. Apparently, a team of election security experts basically used a Google for servers to basically go on out and look for voting systems connected to the internet, and they have already found nearly 3 dozen. Now, there is no reason for them to be connected to the internet. It is obviously a security problem if they're connected to the internet, or if they have a Wi-Fi card, which some of these machines have been found to have. And this internet connection or the Wi-Fi card is to allow somebody on the outside to get into the machine and change the voting outcome. I find myself in agreement with the chairman of the Federal Elections Commission. This election is invalidated by all the fraud. And I think the only remedy, if this goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to say the only remedy is another election. And of course, the Biden people and the Democrats are going to try and rig that too, because we don't have a cheat-proof election system in place. And that is a real problem. And for that, I blame Donald Trump. So another story coming out of Zero Hedge here. When does a glitch become a coup? And it's a valid question, because we're hearing from all over the country, oh, here a glitch, there a glitch, everywhere a glitch, E-I-E-I-O. And basically saying it's time to regulate America's voting machine monopoly. There's only a handful of companies they're involved. Many of them have direct financial ties to politicians, which is a serious conflict of interest. But something does need to be done. Now, GOP Representative Jordan, on an appearance on Fox News Center's Justice, basically said Democrats spent 4 years on the Russian hoax, and they don't want to spend 4 weeks re-examining the 2020 election. And he's right to point out that double standard here. Now, Democratic Party candidate Joe Biden has declared himself the winner based on incomplete results in Pennsylvania, which is still the site of an ongoing legal battle. If you look at an election map and you take out all the states where recounts are happening and all the states where there are recount challenges, okay, Trump is ahead in the Electoral College. Neither one has the necessary 270 votes. And so there is no president-elect. And apparently Congress came out with a comment to that effect. There is yet no president-elect. So anyway, Jay Sekulow was on Fox News last Friday, basically saying that he is demanding a recount in all 28 states that had the glitch that flipped 6,000 votes to Joe Biden. And I think it should happen. And we need to have some kind of an oversight for the recounts, because as we saw down in Georgia, their Secretary of State has put some very stringent restrictions on the recount to try and keep the hoax in place. All right, another story. This one is coming out of the Gateway Pundit. And apparently Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler have called on the Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to resign, citing the poor management, mismanagement, dishonest management of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. So Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger announced there would be a hand count, audit, and recanvassing, but again, he imposed rules on there to make it impossible to really verify what's going on. So apparently there is a new affidavit that has surfaced from an IT expert who admits up front he's a non-Trump supporter. And he's basically saying that he saw a sudden surge of 20,000 mail-in votes for Biden in the early hours of November 5th. At the same time, 1,000 votes for Trump disappeared. And apparently Rudy Giuliani has revealed a connection between Georgia Republican Governor Brian Kemp and Dominion voting machines. And apparently it turns out the Dominion voting machines were installed in Georgia over the objections of the Georgia state evaluators. And I understand for the runoff election for the Senate seats in Georgia, already 600,000 mail-in ballots have been requested. So they're going to keep on cheating till they get what they want. Now, the story about Georgia from the Gateway Pundit. Pardon me. In Georgia, the difference in president-only ballots between Trump and Biden is statistically impossible, and it indicates obvious election fraud. Now, we talked about this last week about all these sudden ballots coming in, only having a mark for the presidential election. None of the other offices were filled out. State representatives, state senate, House of Representatives, United States Senate, nothing. They were complete, not even the dog catcher. But apparently, most of these president-only ballots went to Joe Biden, and very, very few of them went to President Trump. Now, I know the corporate media is doing pedal to the metal, trying to convince us that the election was honest and fair and verifiable. But again, they told us that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. So who's listening to them? Now, a little bit of a flashback. Remember when Joe Biden was in Michigan with Barack Obama? And he told the voters, I don't need you to get me elected. Well, it turns out, apparently, at the time, he thought he was right. And then there was that other slip up where Joe Biden claimed that they had created the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. And it turns out that was also the truth. All righty. Now, Dominion's top engineer is apparently a member of Antifa, and he told Antifa activists he had made blanking sure that President Donald Trump couldn't win the presidential race. So Dominion Voting Systems Vice President of U.S. Engineering, Eric Coomer, allegedly spoke with Antifa members on conference calls and assured everybody, don't worry about the election. Trump's not going to win. I made blanking sure of that. Needless to say, Trump's attorneys are now saying they want a full examination of the Dominion software. Of course, Dominion could turn over a bunch of software that's completely disconnected from what was actually in the machines. What you need is to seize the machines, get out the executables, do a disassembly on them, and have a real experts do a code inspection on them. Anyway, Dominion Voting Systems is one of the largest voting technology companies in the United States. And like I said, their new motto ought to be, we guarantee the results. I was just speaking about this. Washington Times is reporting that yesterday, President Trump's legal team said accusations of rigged voting machines not only cast doubt on the election results, but demand a national security investigation. And they want a probe into those Dominion voting machines. They could probably start with that copy of the instruction manual that somebody got their hands on, where there's actually a section on how to change the results on those machines here. Okay, now apparently there's another voting machine company that has come under suspicion here, and that's Smartmatic. And Peter Neffinger is currently chairman of the board of directors of Smartmatic, a multinational company that specializes in building and implementing electronic voting systems. Neffinger has been named a member of Joe Biden's transition team. A little bit of payback there. Okay, down in Puerto Rico, more proof of fraud. Hundreds of boxes of ballots were ditched and then found later uncounted on Friday. And the Absentee and Early Vote Administrative Board now holds the ballots. But again, it was everywhere in the country this was going on. And I mentioned this before, and I mentioned it last week, but it bears mentioning again. Chairman of the U.S. Federal Election Commission, Trey Traynor, believes voter fraud is so rampant that the 2020 U.S. presidential election is illegitimate. And during a Friday appearance on Newsmax TV's National Report, Traynor said locations not granting observers access to watch the ballot counting process could be involved in voter fraud. Yeah, because if they're not involved in voter fraud, there's no reason for them not to allow observers. Now, okay, Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell, is out there saying we're getting ready to overturn election results in multiple states. Now, Sidney Powell, she's a former federal prosecutor, a Trump campaign lawyer, and she suggested yesterday in an interview that there is still more evidence coming out in Trump's claims of voter fraud. And Powell said that they're getting ready to overturn results in multiple states. And that there is enough evidence of election fraud to launch a widespread criminal investigation. And basically is keeping her cards close to her chest, doesn't want to get into details because she knows that will tip off the vote cheaters as to where the investigations are coming. They are getting desperate out there. Earlier in the show, I mentioned about how the corporate media selectively edited Trump's comment about Biden won the election due to election fraud. They trimmed it down to make it look like Trump was conceding. Here's another good example here. Apparently, at the University of Colorado, law professor Paul Campos is out there claiming that questioning voting results is equivalent to Holocaust denial. That's how desperate they are getting to try and shut this thing down. That is really out there. Barack Obama is going to bat for Joe Biden. It's rumored that Obama will be named ambassador to the United Kingdom by Biden. But Obama is out there saying it's wrong that millions of people are questioning the election results. And he says it's all Donald Trump's fault. No, it isn't. It's Dominion's fault. It's the other election machine makers' fault. It's the ballots whose signatures don't match fault. It's all the ballots that came in after the fact. It's their fault. Now, here's an interesting little tell, if you will. Story coming on out above top secret, asking a very pertinent question. Why hasn't Kamala Harris stepped down as senator? Supposedly, she's going to be the vice president come January. And you would think she would step down as the senator of California to give the governor of California ample time to vet and select a replacement. But it sounds like Kamala has a plan B, just in case. All righty. Now, at least 12 U.S. House seats flipped to Republican in this last election. Now, the Democrats still have the majority, but only by a slim, slim margin. And of course, if the Senate seats in Georgia go Republican, then the Republicans will retain control of the Senate. As of now, even if the Democrats pick up those two seats, it will be a tie because the Republicans already have 50 seats. And this is why the Democrats are urging people to move to Georgia, urging Democrats rather, move to Georgia, register to vote, then move back home, which is illegal. And it basically, they're not trying to hide the election fraud anymore because they know nobody in the corporate media is going to report it. So they can do whatever they want. Because after all, nobody listens to that independent media. Nobody listens to Republic Broadcasting. Nobody of any importance listens to Michael Rivero, they think. Anyway, getting away from the election. Oh, we got to take a break here for commercials. My goodness, how time flies when you're having so much fun. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Dr. Leonard Horowitz. I was right 30 years ago in warning the world about threatening lab virus outbreaks, AIDS, and Ebola. I was right 20 years ago when FBI Director Robert Mueller made me a suspect in the anthrax mailings because I warned the Bureau before the CIA's biocrime and Cipro sales psyops happened. I was right about COVID-19 being an AIDS-laced mutagen planned to resurge this fall to excuse officials' profitable depopulation globalization agendas. And I was right about the only safeguards being antioxidants and holy spiritual sustenance. Vitamin C, D, zinc, chlorophyll, oxygen, and oxysilver especially transmits the frequency resonance to neutralize the expanded function bioweapon. Oxysilver is a double superconductor of the healing power of love. It is the first nutraceutical invented to amplify prayer power and the faithful loving intention of your heart. Buy, try, and stockpile Oxysilver through healthyworldstore.com.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Working 2 jobs ends never seem to meet. She often goes hungry so her babies can't eat. Fatherless son wears torn clothes to school. We're making fun of him's the only golden rule. She doesn't know she's a fairy daughter. If someone wants to help her.
Welcome back to our show here. And again, a friendly reminder and a nudge in the ribs that Republic Broadcasting Network is in the middle of a perpetual fundraiser. As you can tell right now, this is an historic moment in the history of this country, the crookedest election anybody has ever seen. Corporate media is literally declaring war on independent thinkers, conservatives, independent media. And we need your help to keep going. So once again, the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. All righty, getting on back to the news, and we do have a lot here. In terms of our government outside the elections here, story coming on out of global research, how the neocons are poised to join the new government, which sort of underscores the fact they were never really conservatives. It was just a name they took on themselves. Maybe they'll change their name to neoliberals. But the one thing that can be said about them, they're the war hawks. They're the warmongers. And they're joining, they're getting ready to join Biden's administration. And so we're looking at more wars. You know, Trump was trying to keep us out of new wars, was trying to bring the troops home, and a Biden presidency means the United States is going to basically go to war against everybody, and I think we're going to lose here. Now, another little article talking about war, this is from antiwar.com. Biden's Pentagon transition team members, in some cases, are being funded by the arms industry. And the team is led by Kathleen Hicks, who worked at the Pentagon under the Obama administration. Hicks' most recent employer is the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a think tank that receives contributions from arm makers like Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon. So it's going to be a wartime presidency. I mean, the handwriting is definitely on the wall. Now, not everybody is happy about that. And apparently, two progressive House Democrats wrote a letter to Joe Biden urging him not to appoint someone to the position of Secretary of Defense who has previously worked in the weapons industry. The letter was released by Representative Barbara Lee and Representative Mark Pocan. And absolutely should not have people connected to that industry as the Secretary of Defense, because he's going to start wars just to make sure his old buddies in the military-industrial complex get richer and richer. Now, Richard Stengel, according to the New York Post, is the Biden transition team leader for the U.S. Agency for Global Media. This is the U.S. government empire that includes Voice of America, Middle East Broadcasting Networks, Radio Free Europe, and Radio Liberty. And apparently Stengel wrote last year in a Washington Post op-ed that freedom of speech must be restricted, for all speech is not equal. And where truth cannot drive out lies, we must add new guardrails. Okay? And so they're talking about going after the First Amendment here. And it has nothing to do with truth being able to drive out lies. Actually, it does. The truth is driving out their lies. And they can't stand it anymore. They're not able to maintain control over the American people. Well, at least half of them by now here. Now, this is a very disturbing report. This is coming out of Citizen Free Press. This is quoting a source familiar with John Durham's investigation of Russiagate, and basically is saying Durham isn't doing anything. He's dropping his investigations because he's worried about blowback from Biden. And that is very disappointing. And already the Durham investigation is playing CYA, because there was a story on Fox News earlier where they were out there saying the Durham report is due out any day now. And yes, it's a shame that it couldn't be out before the election, but we're finally going to get the results here and see if there's anything worth prosecuting. And if this source is true, the answer is going to be no. Okay, Bill O'Reilly is commenting on the state of the current corporate media. And he says it's heading for collapse. He says it's coming. And I'd like to hope that he's correct, but I seriously doubt it. I think a Biden administration, if necessary, will start subsidizing ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, NPR. Well, they already do NPR, and so forth, to keep them on the air. At the same time, they're going to shut down all independent media. You know, there'll be the officially sanctioned news, like Pravda and Izvestia under the old Soviet Union. That's what they're headed toward. Okay, we got to take another break here for commercials. Lots more news when we come on back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Nikki, great product. Have to try it for a few months to see results. After taking Extendovite for about 6 months, I have noticed improvement on the numbness of my hands and wrists from carpal tunnel. I will continue to buy the product. Ken Peaks, 5 out of 5 stars. Works as advertised. This formula is very powerful. Be careful to follow directions. I am feeling much better. My heart rate and blood pressure has stabilized, and my lower edema has reduced. Lower leg pain due to blood clots has disappeared. Thank you. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cashingproperty.com. That's cashingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And welcome back to our show. Now, last week we were talking about that if Trump does in fact have the White House stolen from him, that he's planning on starting a new media network to bring conservatism back to the airwaves, cable waves, whatever you want to call it here. And there was some talk that AT&T was getting ready to dump CNN. And I suggested that, Trump might look at buying them. But apparently Trump and his allies were talking about buying Newsmax, which is doing very well. Newsmax TV, in fact, is becoming a powerhouse broadcaster. Now, right now, the CEO of Newsmax is saying there is no deal. But it does look like somebody somewhere is serious about bringing some balance back to the corporate media landscape. Meanwhile, back and on November 7th, the Federal Bureau of Investigation shut down an online-only news reporting and analysis site, American Herald Tribune, for the crime, apparently, of publishing news and history that the U.S. government doesn't like. And apparently, visitors to the site saw this FBI announcement. The website has been seized, displaying the official insignia of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Over on Zoom, apparently, Zoom once again censored events in the US and UK featuring the Palestinian resistance icon Layla Khalid. And apparently, Zoom started censoring events that were talking about Zoom censorship. So it's really getting just completely out of control there. Apparently, the president of New York University acceded to Zoom's actions by smearing one of the panels organized by NYU faculty and students and featuring an address by Khaled as terrorist violence that conflicts with academic freedom. So you know who's got their hand in his pocket here. The conservative treehouse has now been deplatformed. And apparently, just 1 week after the presidential election, the conservative treehouse received a notification. Given the incompatibility between your site's content and our terms, you need to find a new hosting provider and must migrate the site by Wednesday, December 2nd. So it's, yeah, the war is definitely on. All right, turning to COVID-19. Apparently, Dr. Fauci is saying that we'll likely have to cancel Christmas. We need the theme from The Grinch at this particular point here. And is saying that masks and social distancing may be permanent. Now, that seems a little bit draconian to me, probably draconian to you as well. Now, Fauci is praising Pfizer and Moderna. Moderna came out with a new vaccine today they think is better than 90% effective. But this idea of social distancing being here to stay, they don't want people talking to each other. You know, you can communicate with each other through social media where it's filtered and spied on and surveilled and censored. And we're now getting reports that emails with certain content are failing to be delivered. SMS messages, the same thing. I mean, it's a total cyber dictatorship out there. All right, airlines may start requiring passengers to sign up for a health pass, which includes a digital certificate of vaccination against COVID-19 before you're allowed to fly. And the system would be similar in nature to that being considered by Ticketmaster, who apparently last week considered making customers prove they've had the vaccine or a negative coronavirus test before allowing them to purchase tickets. And I got to tell you, the more they push that vaccine, the more leery I am getting about that. Why is it so important we get this vaccine for an illness with such a low mortality rate? As far as anybody can tell, it's just another flu. You know, it's not the horror slate wiper everybody told us that it was going to be here. Anyway, Elon Musk had to miss the launch of Crew Dragon to the space station. Apparently, he has come down with something he thinks may be COVID-19. He's not sure, though. He had 4 tests. 2 of them came back negative. 2 came back positive. But he was under the weather, and he decided to self-isolate anyway. But he is saying that he will refuse to take the COVID-19 vaccine. And he says that, you know, everybody dies eventually. And he says, this is a no-win situation. It's diminished my faith in humanity, this whole thing, the irrationality of people in general. And then he proceeded to blast Bill Gates and his vaccine obsession as being a knucklehead. Now, this is one that's really going to wake a lot of people up. This was in the Washington Sentinel, no less. Apparently, over the weekend, very quietly, without fanfare, and certainly not covered by the corporate media, the CDC admitted that the number of people who died from COVID-19 only, without comorbidity, without other issues, is less than 10,000. Now, that's a tragedy for the people, the families of those people who did die, but 10,000 out of a country of 300 million. And all those other people who died that you were told it was COVID-19, they had other issues, other things. They could have died without the COVID-19 at the same time. Now, over in Great Britain, their covert expert is warning the healthcare systems will collapse and patients will die in waiting rooms if the current trends continue. Their new model is suggesting 150,000 more people could die before Biden's inauguration. I'm sorry, this is Biden's COVID expert, not Britain's COVID expert. I don't know why I made that mistake. Anyway, they're still out there mongering the fear. But again, the CDC is saying, no, it's just not that deadly. Here's where it gets really scary. One of the 10 advisory board members on Joe Biden's new coronavirus task force, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, once argued that life is simply not worth living past the age of 75. And basically, this is an interesting question because Joe Biden is now 77. But back in 2014, Dr. Emanuel wrote an essay in The Atlantic titled "Why I Hope to Die at 75." And he's pushing this idea that 75 should be the age at which people are allowed or encouraged or assisted to die. And this gets back to something that Bill Gates was pushing years ago called death panels. At age 75, stop paying to keep people alive because you're going to spend a lot more on these people to keep them alive than they will, in fact, return to society. From the man who brought us Windows Vista and Windows Millennium Edition. All righty. Apparently, Biden advisors are going to start meeting with the manufacturers of vaccines. And apparently, not long ago, Trump administration officials, including Department of Health and Human Services head Alex Azar, confirmed that Biden and his team were briefed on the results of the Pfizer phase 3 vaccine trial before the Trump administration itself. And that is certainly disrespectful towards a sitting president, but then we're not seeing a lot of respect coming out of the deep state for our current president, and he is still president for 2 more months. There we are. Somebody in our control room said, yes, Bill Gates was also responsible for Windows 10, and he doesn't get a pass for that either. He certainly doesn't. I hate Windows 10. I got one Windows 10 machine. It's a laptop somebody gave me, and it's a pain in the rear end to actually use. And it's slow. It is so slow. And the physical machine is fast, but oh, man. Let's see. Governor Cuomo is threatening to bring legal action to protect New Yorkers, saying that he'll sue if the president blocks distribution of a COVID vaccine to his state. Now, I'm not sure why he thinks that, because it's Biden's people who are saying that the vaccine should be shared with the world along with necessary people here in the United States of America. All right, story coming on out of global research. The national security states of the United States and the United Kingdom have launched a cyber war on independent media. And they're using the cyber tools and online tactics previously designed for the 9/11 war on terror, and they're being repurposed for use against information sources, specifically mentioning vaccine hesitancy and information related to COVID-19 that runs counter to the official state narratives. And that probably explains why my site is getting DOS so much these days. All righty. Apparently, a new cyber offensive was launched a week ago by the United Kingdom's Signal Intelligence Agency, Government Communications Headquarters, or GCHQ, which seeks to target websites that publish content deemed to be propaganda. So as I told you during the pitch for donations, it's a war. It is really a war right now between the official state and the corporate media and those of us trying to get the truth out there so that you can make good choices. All right, another story. This one is coming from Global Research again. Bill Gates is actively financing and promoting new untested vaccines supposed to keep us at least somewhat safe from a ghastly death from the novel coronavirus and supposedly allow us to resume somewhat normal lives. The pharma giant Pfizer has now announced what they claim were spectacular results in initial human tests. Apparently, there are a lot of nasty side effects, which Pfizer is trying to cover up by saying, well, that means the vaccine is working. And as of earlier today, a rival vaccine has been announced with even higher effectiveness rate than the one from Pfizer. Okay, story out of Zero Hedge. Lockdowns have not brought down COVID mortality, but they have killed millions of jobs, and that certainly is true. Now, our economy was not in great shape before the pandemic. It was very fragile, being held together with spit and baling wire, and the loss of employment, the shutting down of businesses from the pandemic, from the supposed pandemic, the rumored pandemic, has really dealt what could be a mortal blow towards our economy, and we could be well on our way into a new Great Depression. And, you know, around here, we have 2 convenience store gas stations in Santa Claus. Word is going around that one of them is going to have to shut down because even though its business is all local, we're all driving less. We've got fewer places to go to. And, you know, this is a tourist town. During the summer, we've got Holiday World. During the winter season, people come to Santa Claus to see the lights and the decorations and to shop in the specialty shops that cater to the Christmas crowd. But that's probably not going to happen. And I'm very, very worried about this town for this coming Christmas season, especially with all this Grinch talk about shutting down Christmas. Okay, getting on into the international news, we have another flashpoint. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. This is over in Africa and Ethiopia. Apparently, the northern state of Tigray wants to break away. And apparently, there is a war going on there as well. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned the stability of Ethiopia is important for the entire Horn of Africa region. They are concerned conflict could destabilize the neighbors. Now, with a population of more than 110 million and one of the fastest growing economies on the continent, what happens in Ethiopia affects everybody else. And apparently, pardon me, the leader of Ethiopia's Tigray region has said his forces bombed the airport in neighboring Eritrea's capital, a major escalation. Apparently, it was a missile attack, and apparently Eritrea is siding with the Ethiopian government against Tigray. Violence against civilians is being reported in Tigray, and the country's prime minister ordered a military operation last week. With internet and phone services shut down, most accounts are still unconfirmed. But Amnesty International is saying that they are reporting on war crimes being committed by Ethiopia in Tigray, including a massacre of civilians. Over in India and Pakistan, at least 10 civilians and 5 security personnel were killed in cross-border shelling between India and Pakistan last Friday. This is one of the year's deadliest days along the heavily militarized frontier separating the nuclear-armed rivals. So things are definitely cranking there as well. Over in Saudi Arabia, the Jizan Petroleum Products platform is on fire. And apparently a Yemeni boat launched an attack into the oil distribution station in Saudi Arabia, starting the fire. It was a drone attack, actually. Okay. Okay, we're getting a message here. The phone lines are lighting up here, but I'm going to wait till the top of the hour because there's so much news going on here. And I got a lot of emails saying more news, less phone calls. And I'm trying to keep everybody happy here. But there's definitely a lot of news going on. Apparently over in Armenia, Azerbaijan, specifically Nagorno-Karabakh, the Armenians, as they leave, because Azerbaijan basically won that contest, and Armenians are leaving Nagorno-Karabakh to go back to Armenia. They're burning down their own homes so that they will not be available to transplanted Azerbaijani. And apparently, there has been an assassination attempt on the Armenian prime minister. It was thwarted by their security forces. And apparently, the National Security Service issued a statement. One of the political opponents opposed to the government kept a large number of weapons and had a plan to seize power and kill the prime minister. Okay, we got to take another break for commercials here. I'm going to come back for a little more news, and we will open the phone lines at the top of the hour.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet, also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Well, there's drugs to get you up, and there's drugs to help you get down. There's drugs you get from a doctor, and there's drugs you get downtown. There's drugs that help your hearing, even drugs that help your sight. And there's drugs that help you think that every little thing is gonna be alright. Smoking, steam, and even shots, pills, capsules.
Yeah, there's the new anthem for Oregon, I guess. They just legalized cocaine and meth and heroin up there. Anyway, getting on back to the international news here, Turkey has sent a second drill ship into the Black Sea, and apparently this is coming out from the Energy and Natural Resources Minister Fatih Donmez, and saying that the ship will carry out drilling activities in the Sakarya gas field off the northern province of Zonguldak. Okay. China is very angry over Mike Pompeo's comment that Taiwan is not a part of China. And they're saying they will strike back against any moves, excuse me there. They'll strike back at any moves that undermine its core interest, its foreign ministry said on Friday. And China calls Taiwan the most sensitive and important issue in its ties with the United States. Down in Peru, the protests have been going on here. Dozens have been wounded. Protesters and police are continuing to clash with each other, but the end result appears to be in sight because Peru's President Moreno has resigned. He resigned yesterday, just 6 days after taking office, following the protests against his government. I certainly hope we don't see that here, but it might. There's a lot of anger out there over this election theft here. All righty, and let's see. Little interesting story. This is coming out of Global Research again. And it's basically tallied up all of these U.S. military actions around the world since the end of World War II, and has concluded that the United States has killed more than 20 million people in 37 nations since the end of World War II. And there were only 15 million people killed in World War I. So that puts it a little bit in perspective. All right, we got time for a little bit of economic news here. Story coming on out of VidRebel, WordPress.com. Just how bad will this depression get? A lot of people are saying that, our economy is in serious trouble. And apparently 3 million Americans starved to death in the 1930s. And there were only 123 million Americans in 1929. So it's likely to get very ugly in the near future, and Biden's not going to be able to fix it. This economic decline has been decades in the making, and neither Trump nor Biden are going to be able to really fix it. They're going to claim to fix it. Trump was out there claiming that the economy was doing well, but it really wasn't. And it's doing a lot worse now. Apparently over in the Bay Area, a food bank is now serving 500,000 working poor. That's how bad it is. Okay, we got to take a break for station identification. When we come on back, the phone lines are going to be open. Area code 512-248-8252.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, area code 512-248-8252. And I got an email wondering why I'm sneezing. Am I coming down with COVID? It's actually been very, very windy here in Santa Claus, and there's a lot of particulates in the air, and that's all there is to that. All right, let's go to the phone lines. They're already loading up. Tom in Florida, hello, welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yes, Michael, aloha. Good day to you, and ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Always going to be there.
Bingle gels.
Trump said he brought, you can say Christmas again. I don't know. Now they'll probably say you can't say it. We'll see. Well, bumbling Biden. Yeah, Mike, I just got to get something off my chest, and then I want to hit on a few things. But there's one of your callers that calls your show all the time. This guy's bashing me on other guest show, host a show, and he's talking crap about me about what I said the other day. I'm going to make this perfectly clear. If he can't handle the truth,
okay, but keep it short. Okay, we're trying to cut down on the bickering.
This guy's bashing me about the women in New England states. Well, you know what, Mike? I'm originally from Chicago, and I can tell you, look at you got a Mayor Lightfoot in there. What was it, 42 shootings over the weekend? He's blaming Trump for the coronavirus. He's blaming him for the pandemic. But you got this guy calls your show all the time. He talks all this other nonsense, and then he's talking about me about what I said about the women. I was honestly telling the truth. Okay. Those blue state bluers, all their women, and you know this, Mike, and you need to tell this guy, hey, listen, you need to back him down. Because this guy's talking crap about me, and I'm getting fed up with it. Now, this guy's saying that I said, listen, the liberal women in those states are the reason those states are staying blue. And I don't think, I guess you got a lot of liberal men up there, but I believe it's the reason those states stay blue as they do is because of the women, Mike. Let's not kid ourselves.
Tom. Yeah. Okay, you're assuming they had an honest election up there when we know that it's entirely possible that the state stayed blue due to massive election fraud, which absent probably could have swung the state red. I mean, that's how I mean, look what happened to the House of Representatives.
Mike, I totally agree with you. And listen, you want to get onto that now. Let's talk about what Kennedy did to Nixon. That was a Massachusetts Irishman who stole the election for Richard Nixon, okay? Am I lying? That was stolen in Chicago, right?
Yes.
That election was stolen out of Chicago, Illinois, another liberal state, okay? The gas is off the chain like New Jersey, Massachusetts, and all these other states. So the bottom line is, I'm tired of this guy calling me, bashing me. He talks all this stuff about schmucks, but he can get away with talking about what he gets away with. And if I say something about telling the truth and he can't handle the truth, so be it. I'm sorry for this.
Tom,
Mike, I'll just tell the truth.
Tom, put the microphone a little closer to your mouth because we can't hear you.
Okay, Mike, can you hear me? So this guy's basically saying, okay, Mike. So this guy's bashing me on other programs about what I said, and I just told the truth. What happened? This guy can't handle the truth because look, Mike, like you were just saying about Massachusetts, look, they stole the election from the Republicans in that election. Look what's going on right now. They stole this from Trump. Got it ripped off by this election. Who's kidding who here? This is total fraud. Pennsylvania, Michigan. I know people live in Michigan, Mike, and you know what? They're all, every one of them, they told me everywhere you went was Trump signs and not one Biden sign. So this is a thievery. Here in Florida, it was the same thing. You know what? Florida, we proved it. We have a great governor down here, like I've been saying for years. Haven't I, Mike? DeSantis got elected. You loot over in this state, you're going to get shot. Okay? So you're New England state boys that want to call me out like I'm a punk or something, and I'm not. I'm not going to take no crap for these guys, and I'm going to. And you know, Mike, I got another solution. You know what? People should only call your show twice a week or 3 times the maximum. You know what? One day I call, tomorrow I don't call, Wednesday I call, and Friday, if you have an open line, I call. And the guys who want to call Tuesdays, they call on Thursdays, Mike. That's an idea. 3 times a week maximum. So that way everybody gets a chance to talk. You like that idea, Mike? 3 times a week?
It would be hard keeping track of people. You know, we kind of rely on the honor system around here that you call, you have a topic you want to talk about, and you get off. The only rule we do enforce is 1 call per caller per day. And, my advice to you would be to, be like a duck and just let all this other abuse be like rain just rolling off your back, okay? Because we've got
Mike,
more.
I don't call other shows bashing a guy that's on your show and talk crap about him. If I'm gonna have something to say, I'm gonna say it on your show. I don't have to call other shows and start talking about some guy up there in this state or that state. Okay, I'm just a square player. I tell it like it is, man. Okay. Now getting back, what I really want to say is about this election and about all this nonsense that's going on. You got Lightfoot blaming Trump. You got this guy Offsot in Georgia, and then you got this guy, this black gentleman, okay, he's trying to win against Purdue. This nonsense. They're pumping in $1 billion like they did here in Florida with they're going to pump $1 billion to get them elected with AOC and all these Hollywood freak show imbeciles going over there to try to get these 2 elected to take the Senate. Now, here in Florida,
they can't take the Senate. They can't take the Senate.
Yes.
All they can do is tie it.
They can tie it, but they're not going to tie it either, unless you get a bunch of people from the blue states swinging into Georgia but I know that's impossible. But I bet you a lot of these blue state bluers would love to go in that Georgia to swing it blue. Well, let's hope so. And look at the fraud going on right now. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't want to think about it. But yeah, Mike, here in Florida, even the Herald, as liberal as they are, the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, they've been saying that the Bloomberg was paying $13,000. No, it was $16,000 a vote.
Yes,
$16,000 a vote for to get these 10 whatever the hell thousand criminals to vote for Biden. Okay, and then you're not talking about that Tom Steyer. Then you have Soros, which is funding Antifa. So finally, even the liberal media is talking about this insanity. We got a drag strip down here, Mike. It's craziness down, but
okay.
So that's the point, Mike. You got to, and then I got to hear a guy bashing me about me telling the truth, and you have one guy last week call me saying that me and this one guy, we give some points, but you need more news. Hey, listen, I don't call in every day, and when I have something on my chest, I try to get it off, and that's why I call your show to explain what's going on here in my state of Florida, with our great governor who's been doing a wonderful job. We're not saying
the comment about more news and less calls was not specifically directed at any one of the callers. It was just a preference that has been repeatedly expressed in the email that they want to hear more about what's going on around the world. And I think, this constant bickering back and forth is one of the reasons why people want the calls de-emphasized. So, again.
I do understand that.
Okay.
Well, Mike, but I just got to say this. Hey, let's not kid ourselves, Mike. This election would have been totally Trump's if some of those New England states, not one of them dropped for Trump. Not one. Not even New Hampshire. Like I told you last week. I thought New Hampshire might have a chance. I thought Minnesota might have a chance.
Tom, again, you're assuming that the results out of those states reflected the true will of the voters, and I'm not willing to concede that, given the massive amount of fraud that we have seen all across the country.
And I agree with you, Mike. And that's why here in Florida, even in South Florida here, a lot of people are going around saying, we had people where I live, Mike, that are holding banners out saying no communism, no socialism. And that triggered a lot of the Hispanic vote here in South Florida because they already ran away from communism. They don't know. They don't want it. It's horrifying. I've been there. I saw it. It's great. It's disgraceful. It is absolutely disgraceful. And you know what? The only way those New England states, Mike, if you take 10 million people out of California illegals and stuck them in those states, we'll see what happens in those states. Look at California, Mike, the land of Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. It's got almost 9 million illegals in that state right now, and it's totally gone forever. And there's so much illegal fraud there in that state. It's crazy.
It is as long as we continue to allow illegal immigrants to vote, and they're not supposed to. And somebody somewhere has got to, basically get voter ID back in there and start enforcing the law that the elections are for legal U.S. citizens only.
Yes. But, Mike, let me ask you, Biden, if he gets in there with Harris, he's already said he's going to bring in 800% more
I know.
immigrants from the Middle East and stuff. So you know what? Then you know what? Stick them up there in the New England states because, hey, if they try to bring them down to these southern states and they try to flip these states to blue, there's going to be all out war, Mike. It's not going to happen. The people down here are already having a struggle financially. They don't want the competition, man. No way. There's no way. Now, if you want to take them up to the New England states, Bumbling Joe, with your son Hunter, go right ahead. But don't bring them down here and stick them up there in Delaware and all those other states that are so blue because we surely don't want them down here anymore. Even the people I talk to, even Hispanics I talk to, Mike, do not want this nonsense. They want it ended immediately.
Yes.
This and cease. So that's what I got to say. And, Mike, like I said, Chicago was one time a great city. Detroit is a fantastic city, And, these cities are basically ruined.
Yes.
Because of this Antifa, BLM, and all that. So, we'll see how it plays out here in the near future, Mike. But it doesn't look good. I'm going to tell you right now. And then you got people bashing me because I'm just trying to bring out the point that we don't need all this insanity. We don't need it. And you know what? Once that caller that you need to let him know, once we're in the minority, they're really going to run ramshot on us. We're going to get ran over by a steamroller.
Yeah, they really
We're
are.
going to get ran over like a steamroller. There's not one white Anglo male on the county commission down here, Mike.
Okay.
Well, only got 4 left.
All right, Tom, you got to wrap up. Okay.
Anyway, thank you for taking the call. I hope I hear some of your great callers today. There's a couple guys. One guy in particular, I think he should get his own radio show, man. He'd be a great host. I think you know what I'm talking about, the man from Maine.
Yes. So, all right. Well, thank you very much.
He should maybe think about getting his own show down the road.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much for the phone call. And before we take our next phone call, I can't wait to see all these new refugees from the Middle East up there in the New England states come first winter. I can just see them dealing with the snow and ice gracefully. All right, we're going to go back to the phones to Layla in Canada. Hello, Layla. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I guess, Mike, you made a reference to NYU shutting down a Zoom conference that was featuring the, quote, icon Layla Khalid. It's not Khalid, it's Khalid.
Okay.
They were right to do so. Layla Khalid was trained in Soviet Moscow. She also underwent numerous cosmetic surgeries and used fake passports to get on flights to endanger the lives of people who were on those flights, and probably was the genesis of what ended up becoming the security restrictions that we've all deplored when we're trying to get on a flight, because there were many copycat hijackings. 13 months later, because she had more cosmetic surgery with another fake passport, she got on a flight with a Nicaraguan, and she was carrying grenades. It was an El Al flight, and because El Al was so careful about security, they were stopped. The Nicaraguan was killed after he killed one of the flight crew, and she was overpowered. She continued to preach the violent hijackings, although they claim they were peaceful, but it is never peaceful when you get on a civilian flight carrying live weapons that could come into use because of the exchanges between yourself and the flight crew or air marshals that are on the plane. I cannot believe that anybody would still be entertaining this woman. I met her personally when the PFLP was trying to recruit me. They boasted and called themselves the shepherds of the sky and boasted they were all trained in Moscow during the Soviet era. They were not just Marxist-Leninists, they are terrorists. While they were trying to recruit me to follow in the footsteps of this deranged woman, they were all sitting in Canadian universities or American universities. So while the men who boasted they were the masterminds were sitting in ivory towers, they were sending out stupid women who wanted to be celebrities or icons and sending them out to do the killings, risk their lives and risk the lives of civilians on airplanes. So NYU, congratulations for shutting down Zoom. And Zoom, you have to be more careful about civilians who use your platform to preach violence. This woman should never, she's in her 70s, for God's sake. What is she still doing? She cannot let go of her star status. She has misrepresented her goals, her intentions. All she ever wanted was to give voice to her egomania. And as I said, I know this woman. And that she and her gang of terrorists in the PFLP, active in Beirut in 1971, are the reasons that I fled out of Beirut as quickly as I could. So,
okay, well,
my
thank you.
congratulations to NYU and caution to Zoom. Thank you. Please be aware. You might want to review whatever is available of that Zoom conference. Thank you and goodbye.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call. Thank you for the information, and a lot of duplicity out there. All right. We're going to go to David in Boston. Hello, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, aloha, Michael. Hey, Mike, when I pointed out that I was, as far as I know, the only one in all the talk radio world that, predicted that Humpty Dumpty was going to lose the election, that he was going to have a great fall. Then the board operator then ended the call right away. So anyways, I went back and I listened to the rebroadcast and I heard your response, Mike. And I think you're kind of missing something here, Mike. Did it ever occur to you, Mike? And I don't want you to get defensive. I want to say this the right way, but did it ever occur to you, Mike, that the reason I predicted Humpty Dumpty's was going to have a great fall was that I anticipated all this voter fraud. I anticipated all this because you said out, well, no one else did because everyone else thought the election was going to be on the up and up and everything. Why the heck would the Republic broadcasting community at this late date think that these elections are on the up and up? Mike, I recommended, and I don't think most people don't act on my recommendations, but I recommended that you and the listening audience go to my old weblog and read Two Can Play Trash. Back in 2008, I said they were going to trash the vote. They were going to trash the election results. You should go back and when I tell you, when I recommend something, anyone that really gets to know me hey, when I recommend something, it means it's worthwhile. But you should check out my weblog and Two Can Play Trash. And yeah, am I the only one that knew that there was going to be massive voter fraud?
No, you weren't. I was saying it all along. I was chastising Trump for not doing anything to harden our election system against fraud. So you were certainly not alone in that particular regard.
Okay, and Mike, another thing here now, and I'm looking at them now, these lascivious pictures. Trump has repeatedly denied that he's ever even met Ghislaine Maxwell. And this is a very important issue. I brought it out on Fallon's show Saturday.
Yes.
It's Ghislaine. It's very important that we determine exactly who she is. But if you want to see Trump, it's Forbes, Forbes.com. Here's every time Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell have been photographed together. And there's almost like about a dozen photographs, and some of them are bordering on lasciviousness. Some of them are pretty damn lascivious. And I'll give you, and the site, Mike, it's Forbes.com/sites/ and then this is a woman's name, Lisette Voitel. And Lisette is LISETTEVOYTL. So it's
okay,
Forbes.com.
David, can you email me that URL?
Okay, I'm not used too much to doing emails, but I guess I could do it this one time, Mike. And
okay.
And Mike, I'll just say this if I've got the time. The reason this Ghislaine Maxwell is very important is she's the world's greatest super spy. She's the world's greatest super sleuth. She took to spycraft like a duck. She was the apple of Robert Maxwell's eye. Robert Maxwell doted on her. She had a natural inclination for spycraft. She has close ties to every intelligence agency in the world. MI6, the KGB.
Well, I mean, Jeff Epstein was running an intelligence
She's a
operation.
dual citizen. She works at the Mossad. She's a dual citizen.
Okay.
She has both the... Huh?
David, there's the music. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to let you go, but please email me that URL. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be back with more phone calls after these few words.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and
And welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones to Dan in Washington. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, thanks for taking the call. I'm getting pretty optimistic, actually, that Trump may win this election. Mike Pompeo came out and said there will be a smooth transition to new Trump administration. The evidence about the voting computers is coming out. So things are optimistic there. I don't think we should give up on it. As far as the TV channel idea, if that's the case, then Trump's full of crap and this whole thing's a fraud. I'm not going to watch his TV channel. but I do want him to get reelected as president. And if past his TV channel would just be some stupid Mark Levin, Michael Savage kind of version, Zionist right wing, whatever. So I don't think he's doing that. I have a little more confidence in him than that, but that is a good indicator. So hopefully he just gets reelected president. What do you think? I mean,
well,
TV
if
channel, that's
if
just
this
showing it's all in the game.
if this gets to the Supreme Court, and I think it will, I think more than likely they're going to rule that the election is irreparably damaged because of all the fraud. And they'll throw the election into the House of Representatives as specified in the Constitution. And it doesn't matter who's in control of the House. Each state gets a delegate. And right now, 30 of the states are Republican in the House of Representatives. So Trump would definitely win a House of Representatives election.
Yeah, and so we'll see how it goes. I mean, I wanted more evidence, and the computer thing is showing more evidence. So, and just a side note between Tom and I get tired of callers. First of all, you don't need to do anything. Just keep the show as it is. People need to just calm down.
Yes.
And, I don't think you need time limits because some callers go on a big rant, and it's kind of entertaining. And just quit. This show's not about you guys and your ego, So just shut up and calm down, and there you go.
Good advice. Very, very good advice. Thanks. I mean, some callers I want to cut off very quickly because it's a junk. There are other callers like Layla is a good example. I want to let her go on because she does have a lot of really good information. And normally if I cut her off, it's because we're at a commercial break or the end of the show.
Yeah, it's just why the people that are calling ruin it all are the one telling you what rules to impose. It's just why don't some people just quit calling for a while and calm down a bit.
Okay, well,
anyway,
understand that this show is a benign dictatorship, and I'm the dictator.
Exactly. All right, bye.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Kelly in Austin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Kelly, are you there?
Would you like? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're on the air.
Okay. Would you like to see Charles Schumer lose control of his body functions if the elections got thrown into the House of Representatives?
I'm not sure I really like the imagery there. I'd like to see his face turn red, maybe.
Well, but you get my point. Look, the reason I'm calling is you mentioned Africa earlier and some of the conflicts in Africa. In my career in geology, I've worked all over Africa, mostly over in East Africa. I've been to many countries there. And I say I can't figure out why one country over there would have a compelling interest in attacking another country. They're all dirt poor, and the fact is their governments don't take care of their people. So what they do now is they use they dig up one bogeyman and use that as an attempt to maintain control.
Yes.
And what you're seeing in Africa is exactly that, all up and down Africa. So whatever is happening in Africa, you really have to back off and consider that there really is no basis for, say, Eritrea to attack another country, or for Somalia to attack another country, or whatever. They need to take care of their own, but they just won't do it. I don't think they have the capacity to do it, to tell you the truth. I went to Africa. I started going to Africa many years ago. I've been there many times. And I thought that, well, this is a continent that has great potential. And some countries do. Kenya, for example, I think has great potential. But to get out beyond Kenya, and the rest of that continent is, most of that continent is a basket case.
Yes.
And what you have are dictators that are just trying to maintain control. They're milking every dollar or whatever their unit of currency they have out of their people, and they're getting wealthy, and they're going to continue to do that, and they will continue to use war against one another. The conflict back in the 1980s between Burundi and Rwanda is a case. And I guess I'm surprised that hasn't spilled out across the rest of the continent. but the potential is there. And the United States
We've got a
is really,
population of people with nothing left to lose. Yeah, they'll turn to violence.
they'll turn to violence, and then of course unscrupulous elements in world government will use that as an example to try to compel migration the mass migration of Africans up to Europe. So anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kelly, I got to let you go. We got to take.
Very cynical. I'm very cynical.
Okay, well, we got to let you go, Mr. Cynic, because we got to take another break for commercials. Back with another phone call after these few words. Most of the lines are open if you want to call on in.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Politicians and preachers once sometimes told the truth. We didn't throw war's first stone and sacrifice our finest youth. With no video games or cell phones, a house felt like a home. Children fought and played together instead of on a computer alone.
Welcome back to our show here. And before we go back to the phones here, got an email. And the email basically says, wow, Dave predicted the elections will be stolen. He has been repeating this on all shows. There was a book published in 2018 named Fraud, How the Left Plans to Steal the Next Election by Eric Eggers. All right, we're going to go back to the phones. Most of the lines are open right now. If you want to call on in, area code 512-248-8252, and we're going to go to Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. I agree with that email. I can think of at least off the top of my head a half a dozen people that said they'd be stolen after what had gone on, all the way back to the Bush-Gore election.
Yes.
We knew we had these problems. And I think Trump gets, I'm really tired of hearing people talk about this. Trump didn't do nothing. Trump did try to do something, and the blue state governors interfered with him. They stood in his way and stopped any electoral reform. And that needs to be known because people keep, misstating a mistruth. So Trump did try to do something. And I think it is ironic now, all these people have said Trump never did anything. Well, now that they're seeing the gravity of this election and they're seeing what's been going on with it, they're also now more people are acknowledging the things that Trump has done that have been a benefit, which is nice because all we ever hear is when he does something wrong. Another thing, Michael, I'm sanctioning you to investigate these pictures on Forbes because I don't trust where this information's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably inaccurate. And you are, I would consider an expert at photoshopping and so on and so forth. So I would have 100% faith in your opinion. So I would like to charge you with the task of letting us know what you find out on that. And Tom was relating to some of these other shows, and I did hear these various callers calling other shows and complaining, which I think is really a cheap shot because if somebody's got to complain, how come they don't have the stones enough to complain to you? That's what I would do if I had to complain about you or your show. I would complain to you. I wouldn't go on someone else's show and say, the show that I heard 2 days ago on such and such and complain about it to them. I mean, that's ridiculous. And, the talking about when we should have changed some of the rules, which I take credit for notoriety, should I say, for kind of initiating that. It's not about ingratiating the caller or myself or anybody else. It's simply about allowing more callers on a show like this with so many excellent calls to hear more points of view. That's all it's about. And there are people that take advantage of that and go on and ramble on and lose their thought and then repeat what they said 3 or 4 times that they've already said. And, when you got calls, you got a lot of high energy callers, Michael, they like to call in. They've got a lot of good information they like to share too. And that's all that's about, trying to get more callers on instead of hearing one caller say give 1 point 4 different times. And that's all that was about. And, other than that, I mean, I think the show, it almost runs itself. It goes well because of the volume of great callers you have. But, there is a one caller here, and it seems like all he does is he's attacking the other callers, and that's why he gets, people come back at him because they have to respond. They can't let him say, let's stand what he says it's in error. That's kind of besmirching their character. And he comes on like, I'll give you an example. He says, I said something like, get Layla off the phone. No, I didn't want Layla off. And Layla even recognized that. And Joe came back and he said he didn't take it that way either. Now, those are 2 people, especially the one was directly involved. Why would you continue on with it? That doesn't make sense. Just say, hey, I was wrong and I made a mistake. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and, I agree with the callers to keep these people feuding and I'm not saying you do, but, we've got one guy here that's essentially, I see, as the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And when he creates that problem, of course, people are going to want to respond to,
that may be his objective because, this show is not immune, to, shill callers and, operatives and so forth, especially as you point out, they're not just calling this show, they're calling a whole bunch of shows. They're calling other shows to badmouth this show. And to me, that doesn't seem like a normal listener of the program. So, we do know that there's a huge amount of money being spent to literally pay people to load up these phone lines and try and cause as much problem as they can.
Yeah, and I will still maintain this point, going back to some people who had mentioned it. Voting for the Constitution Party, as we've said over and over, they're not even on every state, but to vote for the guy you're going to vote for, or that they voted for president, the guy is convicted of a crime. He is convicted of a crime that instead of being an advocate and looking out for people, he took a miserly way around it where people got hurt and injured and killed. Now, they hold Trump's feet to every little thing. They're going to go and vote for a Constitution Party guy that's got this criminal, that did prison time because of what he did. It was that atrocious. So, I mean,
well, I'm sure that if the media had thought this guy at the Constitution Party was a real serious threat, they would have gone after him. But I think the attitude was basically, he's too small to worry about. Let's stay focused on Trump.
Well, yeah, but with the callers, how can you be such a hypocrite that you're going to let something like that? Trump hasn't done any prison time. I mean, of all the things you might say about him, Trump hasn't done any prison time. So, I mean, I just think it's disingenuous to get out here and bash Trump and then say, but I'm voting Constitution Party because they're so good. And I heard the guy on one of the other shows, like that had been mentioned, that was bashing that show, say how, those are the real patriots. Well, I disagree. I disagree with the people in that party. Just because the name says the Constitution Party doesn't mean they're patriots. They could be communists. Who the hell knows? But, and come to think of it, I also don't believe that candidate Blankenship served in the military. So I don't want to hear this about being and that's my contention. Don't get out here and be a hypocrite. I mean, if something's bad for Trump to do, don't say, well, this guy's the Constitution, this is the guy we want, but it's okay if he goes to jail and prison, And then with that, I want to final my my conversation here with you, Michael. I think Trump's people are doing a very good job with what they got going. And you know what? Like I said, people had knocked him about that, but look, if something does come about and we do get any of these reforms, essentially it's going to be because of these people trying to rip Trump off. I mean, let's face it, he's the catalyst now. And as I mentioned, Trump had tried to do something, and these blue state governors shut him down, which I don't understand how they get that kind of authority. Yes, they're the governor of state, and they have elections in their state, but they're a proxy for a federal election. You know what I'm saying, Michael?
Well, not really. I mean, the governors basically made it an issue of states' rights, and it wasn't just the governors. I mean, the actual elections boards within those states just absolutely stonewall Trump. But I think he could have tried harder, maybe going out to the American people and saying, contact your governor and your elections board and say, we need a standardized, nationwide method of elections that can be verified. Because I think 2020 has basically taught America, even some Democrats and liberals who are pro-Biden, are acknowledging that there was definitely something hinky about this election.
Right. And I agree with that point of view that you just mentioned, Michael. But what I'm saying is it's in the auspices for the state to function as by proxy in these federal elections, not to just decide we're not going to count votes or we're not going to have a recount or we're just going to go ahead and certify an election. That election is still federal property. You see what I'm saying?
Well, as far as the presidential election is concerned, yes.
Yes.
And the Senate and the House. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I agree with you. I would like to see whatever they have to come up with, some type of board that determines this, redo these election commissions and whatever, in the state bodies or whatever. But I think, when Trump, when it's all said and done, I think very well that Trump is apparently going to be the catalyst for that. And with that, Michael, I just want to thank you for your show. You got an excellent show. You got the best show. I mean, there's you and even one other show that's on the map with you. I mean, you guys are head and tails above everybody, and the rest are all still excellent shows. So thanks for being there. Thanks for RBN. Don't forget to contribute to RBN, because now more than ever, we need this independent media going like crazy to keep us on track with the truth. Thank you, Michael.
Well, thank you for the very kind words, and thank you very much for the phone call and the information. And we're going to switch over to Dave in Maryland. Hello, Dave. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, the first thing I just wanted to respond to Miles, ask him, what did President Trump accomplish during his presidency? Name one thing. Name one thing. Let's hear it, Miles. Name one thing Trump accomplished. I'll give you the answer. Nothing. So that's cool. Anyway, I wanted to call in about the Russian peacekeepers that are in Armenia again. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's the same scenario that they're doing in Syria. And they talk about like NATO. Oh, NATO's fighting the Russians. NATO is patrolling right now in Syria with Turkey. So, Turkey is NATO. They're patrolling together right now. Did you hear anything about, did Trump or Biden ever talk about their foreign policy or what they were going to do during the debates? Did you hear them talk about any of that stuff, Mike, or what's going on around the world?
No, as a matter of fact, foreign policy was definitely off the schedule for the debates. But then you need to remember that it was those moderators who were choosing the questions for the candidates, and they could have put foreign policy in there, but that would have underscored the fact that Trump had foreign policy experience and Biden did not.
Yeah, but the whole debate thing was a scam to begin with.
Yes, it was.
I think that was real. The virtual stuff and all that. And then, so Trump went right along with it. Because never forget, Trump is the one he bragged about during the debates, that he's the one that shut down the country and the economy, and he bragged about how he saved 2 million people from what? The cold, the common cold. Trump's the one that shut down the country, Mike. And I know you could talk about, it was the blue states, the blue state governors. Well, is Texas a blue state governor? Is Ohio a blue state governor?
I'm definitely getting that you're not a fan of Donald Trump, and I've stated many times I've been very disappointed in him.
Yeah, but I mean, like Texas, Ohio, Idaho, they're all shut down, mass mandates. They're all Republican governors. You can't use the argument saying that, Trump just had to do what he had to do because the Democrats were going to say this. It's a scam, Mike. Like I said, because at the end of the day, right now, the world is still spinning, right? There's wars going on all over the place.
Oh,
Trump
yes.
never brought any of the troops home. Trump never brought any of the troops home.
He's brought some of them home. He brought some of them home from Afghanistan and Syria. Others got moved to Germany, unfortunately.
No, because I'll bring up the video. I'll post it on your website. Trump bragging about how he's still in Syria right now to secure the oil. I mean, so come on. I mean, there's no difference between Trump and Biden. I don't care. Hey, did you see how Trump?
Can I respond to that last comment? Can I respond to that last comment? Okay. No difference between Trump and Biden. Actually, there is. But right now, we've gone beyond whether it's going to be Trump or Biden. Right now, we're dealing with a nation in which the election system does not serve the American people. It serves the oligarchy. And that is a threat. It's a clear and present danger to the republic.
Exactly. And that's why my next comment was going to be, did you see what Benjamin Netanyahu said on Haaretz? It doesn't matter if it's Biden or Trump. He said it's situation as usual. It's normal.
Yes.
And Trump even got mad because after he gave Bibi Yahoo the key to the White House, and what did Benjamin Netanyahu do? He turned around and said, well, I'm looking forward to working with the new president of the United States, Joe Biden. So that right there, it just shows you that it's all a scam. So, I mean, you can sit there and talk about election fraud and all this stuff all day. But I guarantee you, like, Trump, he's not going to do anything about it.
Well, he's only got 2 months left in office. Unless the election is thrown to the House of Representatives, then he's going to get his second term. Anyway, Dave, we're running out of time here. I'm going to have to let you go because I got other callers waiting on the line. Let's switch over to Johnny in Vancouver Island. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How about those Sasquatches there, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you listen to that? There was one report about this guy in Britain sent letters to, I believe it was the WHO, asking for scientific proof for COVID-19 exists, and also proof that if a mask can stop a virus. And they wouldn't answer him, so he took him to court. And the court said under the Information Act that they had to hand it over. And they said they actually have no proof that COVID-19 exists.
Well, CDC was put in the same corner where they had to admit they don't actually have any isolated examples, of this virus we're all being told to be afraid of. And, given the actual, given the CDC's admission last weekend that less than 10,000 people have actually died of just this virus alone without comorbidities. It's another flu is all it is. But it was exploited for political gain, certainly by the Democrats and the liberals. It's being exploited by the globalists to try and get us used to permanent social distancing and face masks. And, I really do think that it's much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I do believe so, because here in Comox Valley, we've had a rumor about 3 months ago that a girl had COVID, but that's all we've ever heard about it. We've got people wearing masks now that call them for a second wave, but nobody.
Well, that's what they're giving us, a second and third wave. Johnny, I'm going to have to wave goodbye to you. We got to take one more commercial break here, and I got a bunch of calls I'm going to try and fit in the last segment of our program. So we'll be right back.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. John Hess, 5 out of 5 stars. Awesome. Probably my only review, but at age 40, I was getting bad heartthrob and left arm pain, mainly before bed. I even stopped smoking and drinking sodas for a month, and that didn't work. After one day of taking Extendovite, it was gone and hasn't returned in 3 years. I've ordered Extendovite 13 times, so Amazon just said. Juliet Hordick. I've ordered this product before in liquid form. It is fantastic. My whole family's been on it. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719 extension 3. 800-724-2719 extension 3.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program today on this Monday. We're going to go back to the phones to Jeff in Utah. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hi, Mike. How are you? I just wanted to let all the Trump fans know out there that Trump has always been a deep state central bank controlled actor. And I do mean actor. The Rothschilds, with Wilbur Ross, bailed him out of his Atlantic City bankruptcy failures. And they've owned him ever since. And Wilbur Ross is in his administration now. He was put there to control Trump. And Trump also has another handler in Jared Kushner, and that's his Israeli handler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a big game show. What you're watching is not really an election. It has been a selection. The bankers own, run, and control both candidates. They always have. The last time they didn't was JFK, and we know how that turned out. And that's where America sits today.
All righty. Well, you raise a very important point here that if it looks like Donald Trump is going to regain the White House through the Supreme Court and a House election, his life is very much at risk. And I know that right now, much of the Secret Service protective detail is on quarantine for COVID, but I am hoping that his private security is definitely on the ball here.
Right. The show The Simpsons actually predicted his death, just as they showed 9/11 before 9/11 happened is all. So all of Hollywood, they know what's going to happen before, and they're told by the deep state to put that in there as predictive programming to get the people ready for those type of situations.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the phone call, and we're going to go to George in Hawaii. Aloha, bra. What's up?
Hello, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Mike? Good. Nice weather here today. We miss you, actually, Mike. Miss you a lot.
Well, I miss all of you, too. I miss Hawaii a great deal. You know, I miss the hula girls, and there are not a lot of those around Santa Claus, Indiana.
Well, you're a Kama'aina, right? So you're one of the few that were chosen, Mike, and that's a good thing. So listen, just remotely, is there a possibility that this election was run fairly and squarely and that Mr. Trump lost? Is there any possibility of that ever happening?
No, they have found too much fraud here, and no chance that this was an honest, fair election. Unfortunately, there's been so much fraud in our elections for so many years. Why would they change tactics now? Why would they change a system from which they've all benefited? I think Trump was an upstart because Hillary was supposed to be installed as the president in 2016. And by virtue of an overwhelming landslide by the American people, Trump got into his first term, and the Democrats were just absolutely determined they were going to teach the American people your vote doesn't matter anymore by stealing the election from Trump and giving it to Biden. Anyway, listen, George, aloha. Got to let you go here. Got to let you go. We're at the end of the show. Please stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. It has never been more important that you do so. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.